So this is the camera, mind, and eye. The camera, mind, and eye. So it's a kind of weird topic. The camera, mind. What does it mean? Camera, mind. Camera here is a kind of adjective. Oh, nice. The camera, mind, and eye by Minor White. Photographers on Photography, edited by Nathan Lyons. So it's a book, a very short book, and there are some articles, I think 5 or more, and this is one of them. So let's see what he said and what was the main idea. First of all, I want to, before going to your words, I want to say that this is a very nice things here, because he mentioned, I accept to be fully misunderstood. Means that I'm gonna to talk about something strange, something new, something that it's maybe difficult for some person to understand. Okay, first of all, let's talk about the novel, The Little Prince. What was the connection with The Little Prince and the article? I thought they were similar in the idea of having an open, almost childlike state of mind, not forgotten to be imaginative in all situations. Sorry, I don't have audio today. Okay, yeah, good point.
I would say the connection that I found was both of them kind of emphasized the idea of seeing the beauty, I guess, that's already there. So like in The Little Prince, it was the flower, and in photography, you kind of have to see what you have in front of you and find what a creative image from that, not rather than looking for something new or creating something new.
Good point and good example of The Little Prince, the flower. Okay, what else?
So for the rating, like one part of it said something about a blank state of mind, right? That a photographer is ready to take like whatever image they have. In terms of like relating it to The Little Prince, I do believe that it is related to the story that the Little Prince gives to the other guy, and how the other guy takes all those stories and make them into a picture for him. So that is the relationship that I found, like being ready to like interpret and like make an image out of something without actually having a perceived notion of it.
Could you explain more or give some example about those paintings that you are talking? Because in the first part of the novel, they talk about different paintings. First was the cap shape of the snake, and then they try to have a sheep, and after that the sheep changed to box. Okay, could you just explain more? What do you mean exactly?
Yeah, so if we take that example from the ship that the guy is drawing, so what we can take from that is that the guy didn't have a preconceived like picture of it, but like when the Little Prince asked him to draw it, it was like he just draw whatever he imagined. So that is like being ready to capture like that sort of image in that blank state of mind. So that is how I see it.
I like your idea. That was very nice. You know, actually the box was the things that the writer or the narrator give it to the Little Prince and said, okay, this is the box and your ship is inside. So when the Little Prince says, oh yeah, this is what I want, because actually the narrator give the position, give a chance to him to put or to work his imagination and have any kind of the ship that he wants in the box. So this is the way that we are gonna experience through photography, or the way that Minor White mentioned. I like it. Yeah, thank you. Good point. Anyone else?
I don't know. I think it's kind of similar. Like for me, I think I see it as looking at things differently, like seeing differences that like, I think I wrote in my quiz something like not taking it at face value, but looking at it deeper. I think that was a connection between the two.
The main point of this discussion here is that you understand why you read or why you have the burden of reading the novel, because they are really connected. And you know, this is very important because there are lots of photography instructor that if they know that I am you know, the Little Prince is a textbook or something in my class, they will be surprised. Hey, Little Prince? So this is a novel. This is not for photography. Maybe it's very good for literature or creative writing or all other courses, not photography. So that there are always, I heard these words, but you know, they are really connected, you know. And the things that Amber mentioned also here, it was very important, but I need more explain and more someone to just elaborate it more or just talk about it more. But that was a very good point. That was the whole idea of these two, the book and the article. Seeing differently, right? Just find some example to elaborate it.
I guess I can expand a little more from my experience doing my pictures last night. So I was trying to get a couple pictures done last night before I lost all light. And we went and stopped at a park in town, and I was like walking around aimlessly, just trying to, I think like one of the articles said that like making that picture, but I had to like he says, like clear your mind and kind of look at it differently. And I just happened to, there's one picture that I saw it like, you know, like as I walked up to it, I was like, okay, like this is what I'm going to put for, I think they said the contrasting ones were really hard depending where you were. So it was one like that it, you know, it just, when you look at it differently, then you can see it. And I think that kind of went back to the article for me. Yeah.
So you experience it.
Yeah.
You exactly experienced it, seeing differently, or camera mind or camera eye. Good. No one has any more idea about the connection of these two things? Let's go through the article itself. Maybe something just we can find some other connection through the article, not through the book. So here, let me bring the article. So Minor White start with this sentence. Innocence of eye has the quality of its own. It means to see as a child sees, with freshness and acknowledgement of their wonder. It also means to see as an adult, see who has gone full circle and once again sees as a child, with freshness and an even deeper sense of wonder. So this is a very important quote here. And the things that he wanted to say, all of the article just is around this idea that we should see like child. Okay, seeing like a child. This is the main idea, I think, here. Now, I want you to just explain it to me and say, what is it seeing like a child?
Sorry, I was like, where's my microphone? Like seeing things for the first time, like a fresh pair of eyes, like experiencing, not having like a, I don't know, like the world kind of giving their opinion on it. Like this is how you're seeing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, could you just give us some more example or explanation? This is a very good idea. Yeah, you are right, but I want you to more.
Like when you're saying like almost like, I don't know, like, you know, like when okay, this is a really bad example, but like, like when a baby like eats a lemon for the first time, like they're going into it without having any judgment on it. They don't know what's about to happen. They're just like, hey, there's this person that I trust that's giving me this thing, and they usually feed me nice things, so I'll try it. And then they try it, and then it's like the most sour thing ever. But yeah.
This is a very good example. This is a very good example. I can give you some example in some positive way that you mentioned the things, but in other way. Actually, it's not originally my example. And one of my students in previous classes, I think about 4 or 5 years ago, she mentioned this. She said that when I was a kid, I always thought that, for example, one of her aunties, for example, Auntie Mary, she's the most beautiful woman in the world. When I was a kid, I was always think that she's the most beautiful woman in the world. Then when I grew up, I understand that she's not beautiful at all. And she's she has a common face or pale face. She's not beautiful. But when I was a kid, I was always thinking that she is beautiful, because that time I was seeing with my heart, I was feeling her, the way that she was doing or the way that she behaves through her was the whole idea of looking at her, seeing through her art. But when she grew up, suddenly there are some cliches, some other, all the shapes that come to our eyes, our mind, and said that this is the meaning of beauty, or a beautiful woman should look like this. After that, she understands that, okay, from these criteria, my auntie is not beautiful anymore. But when I was a kid, she was the most beautiful woman in the world. So according to this example, I think this is like your example. Am I right? But in a different way. Just seeing through your heart and seeing the way that you want to see. Not see the way that the other people force you or they want you to see. Am I right? Okay, let's see something else. Let's mention something else. I'm pretty sure that most of you have traveled abroad or some other countries. If you travel around North America, everything are the same. For example, in United States and Canada, the things are the same. But if you travel some other part of the world, I don't know, like Europe, Mediterranean, or Russia, or Middle East, or East Asia, any part of the world except this part, or South America, you probably find different things, and that first of all, they are a kind of weird, and maybe they are attractive, or they are strange, and suddenly you are attracted to them and just looking, some kind of that you are looking them that they are something new. But those things usually are very common and normal things for local people, because they were living with these things, and they don't care about all of these things, because they grew up with all this culture, all this seniority, all these sins, and all they have is there. So but this is something new for you, because we cannot say that you tamed your eyes or they tamed their eyes, but we can say their eyes is accustomed to seeing like that, but your eyes is not accustomed to seeing these things. So you see these things vividly, but you cannot have the same experience in your country and in your place. Otherwise, the people who travel to Calgary for the first time, or from other part of the world, not North America, because they are all the same. I mean, for example, if you live in Edmonton or Calgary, they are pretty similar. Or maybe even, for example, San Francisco, they're similar. Or what is Denver? I heard that Denver is the same as Calgary, everything. So if you just travel from somewhere else, like maybe Middle East, maybe Europe, and come to Calgary, you see different from the people who are living here. So did you get what I mean? I want to say that the way that you see, usually accustomed with and you grew up with all the things. So you should bring all these things and just take off all of these things from your mind and see pure like a child. Just you're just come to the world and you don't have any idea what it is. Just start to sing again. You know, just remember, you cannot remember when you were a child, but just look at the other child that you have around. They are always asking questions. They were always asking questions. Okay, for example, suppose a child in the street said, "Hey mama, what is it?" "It's a goose." "Okay, why the goose is just walking over there?" He or she is going to be with his chicks. "What is chicks?" "Chicks are that little goose." "Oh, what are they doing?" "They are going to be in the river." "Why they are going to be in the river?" "Because they want to feed or they want to swim." "Yeah, but why raven, for example, raven don't go to the river?" "Raven don't go because they fly." So they want to experience all the things fresh, and all the information come to their mind. I read somewhere that babies get more information during 3 first years of their life than all of their lives. So they get more information in 3 years because they just absorbing everything. So being like a child means empty your mind from all the things that you think you know. Just look at the things again, but not with the child without any idea. With the idea and more deep inside. Did you get? Good, good. Okay, let's continue. So then he just said that we don't have word. If you didn't have word, it was much better, because the words are the source of ambiguity and the source of misunderstanding. Maybe we could feel through other things, not words. Then here he mentioned that it is a time that we in static field remember that analysis in scientific field is often as inspired or creative work as a work of art. It is time we recall that man seen or man found is just an expressive of creativeness as man-made. So could you explain these things? What does he mean by man found and man seen could be source of creativity and like man-made? How could be possible? Actually, here he is working on the idea of having, most of the people think that a kind of, pictures, or we could look at the pictures the way that painters are making them. And the photography could not be a kind of art or expression of creativeness, because it's not man-made, it's a machine-made, and we are just taking it. It's already there. He wanted to say that let's understand that man seen or man found is the same, because we are looking at the things and we are seeing, we are finding something. And this is very important here, because he's trying to say that the way that you are looking at the world are unique. This is the whole idea of these things. The way that I look the world and the way that you look the world, all of them are unique. You know what I mean? I want to say that when you let's go to the very famous example. I think it's by John Tagg, or maybe no, I think John Berger. The way of seeing. Yeah, if any of you know John Berger, it's very very good to go through his book, The Way of Seeing. Okay, The Way of Seeing by John Berger. It's very important. He just mentioned that the way that we look at the world is different. After that, there is another book, a very good book by James L. Keynes. I think it's the name. I forgot the name, but it's what the ways of seeing or the ways of observation, something like that. I forgot the name. So they say, I want to give you some example on some other word to understand what I want to say. There's an example that said years ago, maybe centuries ago, some traveler, some pioneer just show a photo of a native, show a photo of his child or her child, and she couldn't understand what is it. And the photographer tried to show it that, hey, look at this one. This is your son. These shadows, this dark area is, for example, his face, and this is the body. And boy and boy and boy and boy, he or she tried to understand what is it. Again, another example. Maybe you heard about it. Have you heard about Christopher Columbus, when he just arrived to South America, and there were some people? Have you heard about this story? Not? Okay. There is a story that first time when Christopher Columbus just arrived there with all of, maybe I think there were 3 ships, with 3 ships. The native people could not see their ships. This is really important. Just look at it, just think about it. They could not see their ships because they don't have any idea, any concept of ship, that big things in the water. Then one of them, a wise man, just look at the circle around the ships, the circle of water around the ships, and understand, hey, there is something. They came from these things, from the sea, these new people. So maybe the things that I mentioned, maybe they are some kind of, they are not based off the history, but they are in the books. And I can find the source for you if you want. But the things that I want to say is that the way that we see is unique. And also, John Berger mentioned in his book that the way that women see the world is entirely different than the way that men see the world. And he also mentioned that the woman is always looking at herself through the world, and the man looking through the world differently. I want to say that the woman see the world, herself in the world, and look at herself through the world. So this is a kind of complicated, but I want to say that always women are looking at themselves, even when they are alone, even when they are by themselves. They are looking how they look like to the world and how they could be a part of the world. So these are some examples to say that people see the world differently. And the way that we see is unique, and we could share it. It's a kind of, the way that you see the world is unique for yourself, so you can interpret it. You can share it through what? Through photography. Show that how you see the world. And that is creativeness. That is creativity, the way that you see. Did you get? It was a little hard to explain it, but I tried. Okay, let's continue. Oh, here. Again, then later he said that we are so conditioned to painting as the criterion of the visual aesthetics experience that the possibility of a photograph's being another path to aesthetic experience, like a piece of a sculpture or a poem, has been overlooked or not realized, if not actually denied or pushed out of the realm of possibility. So again, he here mentioned that we always see the pictures with the criteria of paintings, and this is, we are conditioned to these things, so we cannot see the way that these kind of things, I mean pictures, could be seen differently. So how you can explain these things?
Well, I guess it really depends on every person, right? Because like each individual person finds different things interesting, right? So what someone can see something beautiful, some other person can see something else. Could be like, yeah, I don't know about that, you know, and they can find something else like interesting looking or beautiful to them. So I guess it's just, it really depends on the eye of every person, because that's what really like makes us different from each other, right? So like
Yeah.
in all aspects. So each one of us have like our own
Individual perception.
yeah, that's right. Thank you.
How we can connect your idea, or actually the things that Minor White mentioned, to poetry or poem or sculpture, and how we can separate this kind of criteria from the painting?
I'm not really sure if this is gonna answer your
It's okay,
question.
just answer. Just answer.
Yeah, but I think it's just mainly about inspiration, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like even though I said before, like each one of us, like we see things differently. Sometimes like we may agree with someone, like we may find something really interesting and really inspirational, and it might inspire each one of us at doing different things. Like some people are really good with words, and they can express that with words. Some other people are better at capturing those feelings with pictures. So if like, for example, there's like two people looking at the same scenery, well, one is a photographer and the other one is like a poet. So the photographer obviously is just gonna capture that moment, and the poet is just gonna write about that moment and what this person felt watching this scenery. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that was very good. That was very good. I want to mention something or to add something. Do you remember Susan Sontag that I mentioned the other session? She's a very important thinker and philosopher in photography and media and cinema and all these things, literature. I don't know if you know her. In her famous book on photography, Susan Sontag starts a chapter with talking about Walt Whitman. I'm pretty sure you know Walt Whitman, right? Good. This is very important, that why Susan Sontag mentioned Walt Whitman when she wanted to talk about photography. Let's see things other way. What is special in the words of Walt Whitman? What you can read, or what is there? Anyone could just tell me about Walt Whitman? If you look at Walt Whitman, if you want to come to the point, just compare it with some classic poems like maybe Shakespeare, or maybe before that even, or some the same era, like Andrew Marvell, some other person. You know Andrew Marvell, you know Shakespeare, yeah? When we read Walt Whitman or some other, or some other person, other writer or poets, if you just read, you understand that there is not anything new in their words. Everything's come from the world, and we can see all the things. I mean, if you look at Walt Whitman and read it, and you say, okay, I even could see the same thing that he saw, but you didn't. But you didn't look at the sea, you didn't look at the leaves, you didn't look at the trees, you didn't look at roads, you didn't look at, I don't know, ages of the sceneries like the way that he saw. This is this, you know, the point in this kind of poetry is just looking at the things and expressing the way that they could see. If you look at Coleridge or some other poet, some other, you know, literature, like any of them, they just say and bring the words from the words that we are using every day. There's not something special, or maybe sometimes the words are special, but all of the words that we know and we are using, they are also using. But they use it in the way, they want to express it in the way that we can feel it, the way that they are feeling, the way that they see the world, with the same material that we already have. This is very important. In photography, so look at just the painting and photography. With the painting, you really need some kind of, you know, maybe not some kind, many kinds of practice to just make and bring all these shapes and color. It's not easy. So just being mastering painting in any kind of painting, it's really hard. But in the level of photography, the techniques are not much hard. Believe, you know, it's really easy. Everyone could learn photography through maybe 1 month. Now that is the maybe, you know, 5 sessions even. Can learn how to make pictures. So, but making a painting, it's not easy. But making a picture through photography, it's easy. So till this part. But how you could make a picture that could be meaningful and could be a kind of art, you should look at literature. I want to say that everyone can use word and can write. Okay, if I ask you to write your name and tell me that, what did you do today, you can do it. For example, you say, I can wake up at this time and I can go somewhere else, and I can read it like a report, and you said, okay, these are the things that I did. But a person with a taste of literature could use the same word that you did and give the feeling of whole hours of your day. And when you read that part, you say, oh, I think I was with you all the time because I got the feeling. So this is the point. The way that we are looking at the photography and we want you to practice is the way that, you know, in this way of photography, you are trying to capture your feeling and interpret it to a form of picture and give it to other person, sharing your experience. This is the way that they are connected to each other. Just look at the book that you read, The Little Prince. It is one of the most important novels in the world. One of the most. And it is already translated, I mean, I don't know, maybe more than 20 languages. So this is very important. But when you look at this book, for example, probably you read the English translation because the original is French. So you read the book and did you find any hard word or any new word for you? Anyone experience a new word in English in that easy and simple word book? No. All the words were kind of common words that you use every day. But how these words came together and make this decent book, very nice book, because of imagination and using the same material. It's the same thing that could happen in photography. Did you get what I mean? Okay, let's continue. And then he came to see and find and human activity are connected and speak of the state of mind of the photographer by creating his blank that we mentioned it a little. It is a very active state of mind, lack of preformed pattern or preconceived idea. Yeah, okay, we already talked about it a little bit, but I'm happy to hear more about preformed or preconceived idea. What does it mean?
I think it refers to just to going out, taking pictures without like a specific idea or a specific shot. Because if you're looking for that specific, you're just gonna walk like through like so many things that are beautiful, but because you're just like stuck with that idea, you're just missing so many things around you.
Could you explain or distinguish this idea that you mentioned now with the idea of the previous article that I think it was Edward Weston who mentioned that you should have the idea of the photography before taking photography in your mind, and here he said that you should not have anything. So why these things are they aligned or they are against each other? And now I want you to think about this. Why Edward Weston mentioned that you should have your picture before photography in your mind, and here he mentioned that you should have the blank state of mind. And what does it mean?
Can it be both? Like can you go out with that blank state of mind when you're just out walking, and then as soon as you take the photo, switch to that photographical mind, because you still have to find a way to capture the emotion that you're experiencing in that moment?
You mean just switching that things too fast, first of all being empty, then suddenly be occupied with the idea? Is it possible?
Yeah, like I guess you can't, because like the article also mentions that it's kind of this what did they say? It's like it's almost like a boiling pot. Like that was really interesting. So maybe in that sense you can't just like see photographically at the same time. Maybe, I don't know when there's a right place and time for that.
We will come to the point of boiling water, boiling pot.
I think they can both be linked. I think it just happens in the moment. Like, so say you're walking down the street and you see like a dandelion. To most people, that's pretty boring. But if you kind of put in that one where it talked about like different angles of things, like you can make that into a beautiful picture, depending on like, so if you're seeing that in your mind, like, you know, you're looking at it differently with your blank state of mind, but then also picturing what it could look like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you are also correct, and I'm pretty sure you understand. But again, I need, specific things. I mean something, directly to the point. Said they are aligned, but how they could be aligned? Then Edward Weston said that you should have your before photography in your mind. It means you should have the idea. You should know what you are going to take, why you are going to go out, and what do you want. You want to take a photograph of what? So the whole idea of photography and the whole idea that you want, you should have in your mind, and you know what you're looking for. It's exactly the same boiling pot. It means that you are ready for getting that things because you are sensitive, you're sensitized, your mind is sensitized to that things that you want to get. Okay, this is till here. But minor one mentioned that you should be in a way that there is no preformed pattern or preconceived idea. It means that your idea should be new for you. You should not copy the other person's idea. The same thing that the other day I mentioned. If you see some people are taking photograph of something in the same way, you should not practice that. You should not do that because you are doing their idea. And I also mentioned that we looked at Edward Weston Pepper, and that was very nice, the way that he saw the pepper. But is it good that we just put a pepper and take the photo of the pepper? Is it not now? It's again a preformed pattern, because we already know that, yeah, we could look at the, there are lots of, after the pepper is belong to 100 years ago. And if you look at Instagram or all other things, or 1x.com and Flickr, you can see lots of the, I don't know, like all the vegetable and all the plants that they look like differently. So yeah, they are exactly doing the same thing that 100 years ago somebody else did it and found it. It's exactly what minor one is going to say. This is man found, man seen. Edward Weston found it. Edward Weston see the pepper in a different way. His mind was ready to find the pepper, and he found it. And he didn't look at the pepper the way that the other person asked you. Again, I want to come to matter of beauty. Look at these things. If most of the people in the world, they don't know what is the real meaning of beauty, and what is a beautiful, how could be a beautiful girl or a beautiful boy. They all go through the pattern that they are advertised by companies, by other things. So they look like some celebrities, they look like some advertising, and they say, yeah, because they are just advertising these things, so they are beautiful. This is really funny, because if you look at celebrities from, for example, 20 years ago, their face were really different from the celebrities of these days. And those days, that was the meaning of beauty. And these days, this is another thing, is the meaning of beauty. If you look at, for example, let me mention some person. If you look at the lips of, I forgot her name. Do you know Chandler Bing? Yeah, in the real life, who was her girlfriend? I want to mention that. You don't know? I forgot her name. Yeah, Julia Roberts. If you look at Julia Roberts' lips, and you look at Angelina Jolie lips, they are completely different, and they are from different era. Those days, those kind of lips were popular, and these days, another kind of lips are popular. And people in all of the world, unfortunately, in Canada they are less, but in other kind of the world, they are putting things in their lips. I don't know what they call it, gel or other things, to make them, the lips, to change the lips, put it bigger, to look like they are people who are doing surgery to look like other, celebrities, because they think that this is the meaning of beauty. So these are preformed and perceived ideas. So I just mentioned these things to you to understand that if you're going out, you should not go out with the idea of the other people and say, okay, Calgary is beautiful because of this thing. So if you want to see the beauty in Calgary, you should go this way. The funny thing is this day, the funny things, you know, 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I visited China and I went to Beijing. There were some places in Beijing. They were marketed on the street and, you know, with a cross or something and say that this is the good point for taking photograph. And there were lines, people just standing in a line to stand there and take the photograph. Because some expert said that this is a good point for photography. So I'm against these things. Because you should find what is suit you, what is the beauty of Beijing. Not the other people say that this is the beauty of Beijing. So just think about that. There are a bunch of tourists every year, they are visiting Beijing and they are producing the same photographs. Or nowadays, if you look at Google Map, there are some points in your Google Map that say that this is a photography spot. See, this is really funny because the people are telling you, okay, go there and take a photograph. I'm against these things, and also minor right is against these things. You should find your spot yourself. You should find your idea yourself. You should go out and take. Do not look at the other people, and do not, you know, the meaning of beauty, as Anisha mentioned, is subjective. So you should find it, that what is beauty, you know? And everything and every day, the meaning of beauty is changing and changing by advertising. You know, years ago, the models, especially the kind of, you know, nude models or bikini models, when we were looking at their bodies, it was completely smooth and, you know, without any scratch, without anything. And some activists, they attack this idea and say, hey, what you are just showing the fake idea of the body. No one is like this. No one is like this. And now, just I want you to just check it. Just go, for example, let me see. Just wait a minute. I want to find something. Yeah. If you go, for example, to Bikini Village, that is a website for buying bikini. I'm pretty sure you know that these are for women and men. And you just check some of the photo of showing the bikini. You understand that nowadays you see some scratch on the body of these models. Now they put these things because they want to, you know, I want to say that activists, artists, these are the person who are changing the meaning of beauty every day. And you are one of them. You could make the meaning of beauty. You could change the meaning of the beauty. Years ago, it was very bad to have some acne and other things on your face. Do you remember? Or if you know, for example, Anne Shirley Cuthbert, she was upset because of her hair. But nowadays, people are putting color, putting dew to change their hair to be look like her. And if you have some acne on your skin, it was bad and it was not beauty. But nowadays there are lots of apps that you can put acne and other things on your face. So the meaning of beauty is changing and changing. But who are the people who are changing them? Artists, activists. They find it, they say it, this is beauty, and other people are coming after them. So you could be one of them. You could be one of these people who find a new way of beauty. You know, I want to say that all of these person, all of these things that I mentioned, from Angelina Jolie to Anne Shirley to Julia Roberts, to everyone is beautiful, and all part of the world is beautiful. All part of the Beijing is beautiful. There is no spot for photography in Beijing. All of the part of the Beijing is really beautiful. I want to say that actually, minor want to say that just don't have a kind of preformed pattern and preserved idea. Again, let's go to that part of the article. We should note that lack of a preformed patterns or preconceived idea of how anything ought to look is essential in this blank condition. Did you get what I mean? Do you agree? Anyone against all of these things I mentioned? I'm here to listen to. I'm not sure that, yeah, okay, Haley agree. Good. So there are at least 5 people who are listening to me. I'm kidding. I know you are there. I'm kidding. Anisha, Christine, Nail, I know you are there. Okay, let's continue. Then he talked about sensitized or sensitive mind. So I already mentioned it. I already talked about it. Being sensitive means being reading like boiling water. And only, okay, yeah, I just want to come to a conclusion. I want to just come to a conclusion. Anyone wants to just after all these things, just come to a conclusion and say the whole idea of minor void and how it could be now could be connected again to the novel? You know, the idea of just drawing a ship is exactly the idea of having and seeing everyone, seeing individual. And the man or the narrator just draw a box and say, okay, your ship is inside. Now you can think about it. And also the idea of just walking to different planet and seeing different people, they are all the meaning of preformed seeing and preconceived pattern. All of those people who were there, they're trying to do something like that. Or that man who were looking for sunset and just moving to find the sunset. So he found a kind of pretty and beauty in his small planet. Or the other man who is just accounting just the money because he thought the money is important. All these ideas, he was just exploring these ideas that are important for people. And if you remember, somewhere in the book, he mentioned that if you talk about beauty of a house to people, they don't understand unless you say that it's a, for example, $1 million house, or if you mention that it's a, for example, 2,000 square house, and they understand, wow, this is a beautiful house. So the meaning of beauty is connected to meaning of money somehow these days. So all these things were in the book. Okay, let's go for conclusion. So here in this article, Minor White wanted to say that you should have a kind of blank state of mind. It doesn't mean that you should be empty. No, you should be sensitive to the things that you want in the way that it's all yours, not copying, not just having other people's mind. This is the meaning of blank. Like a child perceive the world by himself or by herself. A child can see the world differently, and sometimes they could see the world better than adults because they have imagination. Let's mention something else. This is very nice. You know, by and by, when we are growing, we are losing our imagination. But artists try to preserve their imagination. It's very important things. Just remember. I want to mention 2 things. Maybe one thing that is a little ridiculous. Like, let's say it another way. I'm pretty sure that most of you, when you were a child, you flied in your dream. Anyone here flied in her dream or his dream? Just like this. Yeah, Haley. Haley said that she agrees, or she. Haley, did you fly? Did you have experience of flying during your dream? Yeah, okay, at least one person. But when you are adult, it's a rare situation if you see that you are flying, even in your dream. You know why? You know why? Because you are reasonable now and there is no imagination. And your mind understands that flying is possible it's impossible for you. And when you're dreaming, you want to fly, but your mind, hey, where are you going? You cannot fly. And you're gonna stay on the floor. So you cannot fly because you lost your imagination, because you are too reasonable. And there is another thing that I said that it's a kind of, I don't know if I should say it or no, but okay, let's say some people, when they use drug, any kind of drug, or maybe the simplest one, that marijuana, or what the weed, that it's common in here. So if you use that, again, you will be like a child. Then you can fly, then you can walk through the wall, then you can see everything, because the things that happen in your mind is that this drug just push your reasonable part of the reasonable part of your mind away, and imagination come again. So to be artist, it means to let your reasonable part of your mind go away and just see the way that a child could see. You could dream when you were a child, but you cannot dream nowadays. So this is the bad part of being adult. And here is what he wanted to say, that just see and experience like a child and different and individual, and try to capture this experience and show it to the other people and say that this is the way I see. Believe me, they understand. By and by, they understand what you are saying. If you practiced already, if you saw these things. This is the way of being artist in all of the medium. Not just this one, but photography is a very good connection with literature. So we came to literature and photography, but it's the same on painting and other things. Okay, that was the whole idea of this article. Thank you for your participation and for your listening. I'm really glad that you listen to these things. There are some people that are not watching the videos again. I don't know, they won't receive these things. And I'm pretty sure it's hard to just watch them. It's better to be in the class anyway. That was our last article. Anyone wants to add anything, any comment, any, anything that you want to say about the article or the book, or conclusion, anything? I'm here. No? Okay, maybe you're tired. Good. Abigail said that she enjoyed the book. Happy to hear that. Yeah, the book is very good. If you finished it, very good. If you didn't, please finish it, and please recommend this book to other people. I remember about 10 years ago, I went to a bookshop and bought because that was a kind of sale. I bought about 10 of this book and I kept them in my house, and randomly I gave them as a gift to the visitor, to the people who were coming to my house, and say, okay, this is the gift because you were here and you were my guest today. They said, oh, I don't want a book. I said, okay, you don't want it, but just keep it and go. Maybe sometimes you find some time to read it, and it's very good. I want people to read this book because it's very good about your imagination and about the way that you could look at the world. Today, I'm gonna talk about light and shadow, a part that is important in photography, but it could be a source of seeing, a source of just some element, some part in the image. If you look at this photo again by Harry Callahan, and the woman who is standing there is his wife, Eleanor, all the things that we are seeing here are dark and some light things, are lights and shadows. So the whole composition comes with lights and shadows. Sometimes lights are main object, like here. You see the lights and the way that it comes through, diagonal that it comes through the frame. It's the light as an object. Sometimes the shadow is object, like here. The lights came and make these shadows. So here the shadows are important. But always when we have shadows, we should have lights. When we have lights, we should have shadows. But sometimes lights is important, sometimes the shadow is more important. Here, obviously the shadow is important. So just going and seeing shadows and lights. Here on the left, all we can see are some legs and their shadows, the shadows of the bodies. And these are against some kind of lines. If you look at the right one, it was the photo that I showed you for showing line, but again, it's for light and shadow.